Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. Today, we're going to be talking about high ticket offers. And, I'm just curious, do you have one? Do you know what one is? And if you are interested in figuring out if your business should have a high ticket offer, what's the advantages, pros and cons, then you are in the right place, because our special guest today is going to dish it all out for us. We're going to delve into this. We're going to figure it out and find out if your business, I would even argue, if you even think you have a high ticket offer, that maybe it's not high enough, right? So we're going to get our fingers into all of this today. We're going to break it down, and it's going to be a great, great show. So as you guys are coming in, just give me a quick shout out. Where in the world are you this morning? As most of you guys know, if you've been coming regularly to the show, still in Virginia. I think my internet is pretty solid this morning, so fingers crossed that we don't have any tech issues, but life is what it is. A couple of quick things as you guys are coming in, getting settled. We do giveaways on every show. One of it, I thought today, since we're talking about high ticket offers, I have a course on kind of this very thing, assuming you have a high ticket offer. But the giveaway today is 2 of these courses, how to sell your high ticket offer with a simple phone call. So if you have a high ticket offer, or if we intrigue you enough today to where you are going to say to yourself, I need a high ticket offer, and you win the course today, then you are going to be set. You're going to be like, I know how to do this. I know how to sell it with a simple phone call. Because the reality is, usually higher ticket things require a conversation, whether it's getting on the phone with somebody or talking with them on social. So how do you win? How do you win the giveaway today? We have 3 ways that you win. So share your aha moments. An aha moment is, wow, I didn't know that. So you have that breath like, I didn't know that. Use hashtag aha, drop it in down under. It's also sometimes those things we know, but we need to hear again. Feel free to drop them in, because that's how you get entered into the Wheel of Wow. We draw all the winners at the end of the show. Tag someone that might need this, or sprinkle it out into the world and let's get other people in here. And then ask your questions. We love them. We will try to answer as many of them as we can as we go. If perchance we miss something, we'll circle back and make sure that we get it answered after today's show. If you would like show notes, you don't want to you're multitasking. Hopefully you're not, but if you are multitasking and you would like show notes later after the show, definitely just drop in notes down under again, and we'll get those out to you guys as quickly as we can. Okay, so just going to say hey to a couple of people. Good morning, Lisa. Good to see you. Let's see. Paul's won the show notes. Good. Okay. Let's see. Good morning, Paul. As always, I'm super appreciative that you show up every Monday. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let me tell y'all a little bit about our special guest. So I met our special guest at my mastermind 2 times ago, I think. Yeah, 2 times ago, down in Miami, and immediately fell in love with her. Like we just had such synergy, from out the gate. We found ourselves at the same table. We just I don't know. I just fell in love with her. She's amazing. You're going to love her. She's my first word that comes to mind when I think of her is vivacious. She's just got a bubbly personality. That's just her personality, though. But what is she going to bring to the table in the conversation today? So let me tell you guys a little bit more about her. She has owned 8 businesses in the past 17 years. So she is not a novice, right? She successfully sold 2 of them by the time she was 30 years old. Yeah, she's not as old as me. Let's just put it that way. She's known as the secret weapon to many 7 and 8 figure companies, helping them build healthy, thriving sales teams that support exponential growth. Her systems and mentorship have helped some of her most recent clients go from inconsistent 15K months to 50K months and 100K months and 500K months. Like, can you even imagine that, right? All with less work and less stress. So who wouldn't want that? So you guys put your hands together for Erika, okay? So bring her in. Seriously, put your hands together. Hey, Erika.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for the wonderful intro. That was so fun.
Yes. As I said, we met in Miami. I personally felt like we just had some amazing synergy right out the gate. So excited that you said yes to come sharing your amazing sauce with my community. Thank you for doing that. I see we have Vicki in the house. Good morning, Vicki. Donna's here. Good morning, Donna. Rhonda says, good morning, Erika.
Rhonda.
So I always like to start with kind of the backstory. I tell people usually your bio is very enlightening, but it doesn't really paint the picture. It talks about the successes, but how in the world did you get started? And kind of like a brief summary of how you got started and ultimately how you ended up where you are today.
Sure. Well, I believe it or not, I first started my very first business was actually a martial arts school that I opened when I was only 18 years old. And it was a family business. My dad was the first American in history to win the world championship in Okinawa, Japan. And my sisters and I are both world champions as well. So it was kind of a natural path for me. And I grew that business very successfully over the course of 8 years. Now, like you said, Kim, there were ups and downs through all of that. But it ended up in 8 years being in the top 0.01% of martial arts schools in terms of number of students and families that we served. I sponsored 7 different elementary schools locally once a month. And we had a 10,000 square foot facility that we bought outright and had a huge after school program, 6 vehicles to pick kids up from school. It was a big business. 26 employees. I was 25 years old. So I felt like I kind of hit the peak of that and sold that business to family when I was 26. From there, that's when I took my first big step into the online space. And I decided to leverage my experience in running a martial arts school and help other martial arts school owners. So I created a consulting business with a partner called Martial Arts Success Team, which taught other martial arts school owners how to add 6 figures plus to their bottom line every single year through running after school and summer camp programs. And that company did very well. That was my first real leap into the online space and high ticket sales and hosting masterminds and things like that. And we became the top consulting company in the martial arts industry in just 2.5 years. And I was fortunate enough to be able to speak on some really amazing big stages at the Martial Arts Super Show in Las Vegas. Lots of really cool things through that business. But I really wanted to expand outside of the martial arts industry, which frankly was very scary for me. So I sold my equity in that company. It was the second company sale by the time I turned 30, and decided to kind of try to see where I could fit in this very large world of, online coaching, consulting, information products. And I had so many different entrepreneurial friends at different times tell me, Erika, you just have this gift for sales. Like you need to teach sales. And I never saw it because I just talked about the things that I was passionate about. And I was really passionate about being a connector for people and helping the right person make the right decision if I knew it was something that was going to help them. And I guess that's what we call sales. So then I started several different sales training companies that ultimately have led me to where I am today, which is just my name, Erika Martin Consulting. And currently, I work with various different sizes of businesses in different ways. I work with six-figure business owners that are owner operators, and helping them kind of get their sales system in place, optimize their sales, get their very first salesperson, that type of thing, all the way up to eight-figure companies with sales teams that I help direct and manage and plug the holes, the profit leaks in their business, and optimize their offers. So ultimately, my passion is helping really good people that can help other people make money. That's what I do.
I love that. So you said a couple of things I wanted to key in on. You are just super passionate about what you do, and I think that that's the core of successful businesses. I mean, I've seen it across the board, across the years, is, when you really are truly passionate about what you know and how you show up and how you make a difference for others, it can't help but leak out all over you. I wouldn't even call it a leak. It's like a spew, all right? Because we just get excited. We want to help. And that energy is what I think in the online space is ultimately what attracts people to us. It's like, it's you when they feel your passion and the desire to help, it's just it's a game changer, I think. And then you were talking about, good people. It's, when you work with people, it's super imperative that you don't accept just anybody. Like, it's easy. I mean, when you first get started, honestly, that's just what you do because there's a fear factor there, right? But like when you get a little bit more down the road with your business, working with the right people really does matter. But the other thing, and I want to start tugging on, is you help people refine offers, get better offers, put higher ticket offers on the table so that they can create more revenue in their business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, specifically is high ticket offers. So like for those who might not quite understand what a high ticket offer, what in the heck is a high ticket offer anyway?
That is a great question because it's a very broad term. And the truth of the matter is it means different things to different people. For somebody just getting started in business, something that feels high ticket might be a $500 offer. But for somebody that has been in business for many years, that might feel like a little puny offer, and a high ticket offer for them is more like $50,000. So to kind of capture the broad range, the way that I define it is anything above $2,000. Really, the sky's the limit. Really, $2,000 to $100,000 is a high ticket offer.
I kind of tell people now in the context of the online space, especially the education consulting kind of space, if you're doing services, obviously I think there's a really almost no level to how high you can go, because you could sell a package, a services package that could be several $100,000, depending on what it is. But I think in the education space, there's a movement, I call it a movement, where we're no longer just selling our knowledge, hopefully. I think this is something that if you are selling your knowledge still for pennies on the dollar, hopefully you'll hear this and you'll say, oh, I no longer want to do that. But I feel like there's a movement happening, not just as us as educators, but also from buyers' perspective. They're tired of not getting the results that they bought, right? So I feel like there's a higher ticket offer in the context of packaging something that is not just a course, right? You throw in some other things. So, and I don't want to lead you with anything, but can you share a couple of give us a couple of examples of high ticket offers that you've helped define to where, what was it before and what did you shift it into?
Oh yes, I can give you many examples of this, but it sounds like your audience has a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge and they're packaging it and they're selling it and maybe asking, how could I create a high ticket offer? How could I increase the pricing of this thing that I offer. So when I work with people that have knowledge that they're putting into a course or a product and they want to create a higher ticket offer, you're 100% right, Kim. There's only so much, there's only so high that you can go if you're selling an information product. So I'll give you an example. I worked on a consulting project with actually an 8-figure company in Australia, and they were a solely digital product company. They only sold digital products. They had no coaching. They had nothing like that. And their highest ticket offer was $19.97. They could not sell their information, and they had tons of courses, and they were making 8 figures already before we started working together, and they brought me over. But in order to really hit their revenue goals, they knew that they needed to create a higher ticket offer, and that would require some coaching. So we actually created 2 different offers. So we created a $5,000 offer that included curriculum, an actual course of information. It was a finite period of time. I think it was maybe 90 days or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It was a finite period of time. It was a $5,000 offer. It had specific curriculum, and alongside of that, there was also coaching that I facilitated. So they got to come to a group call with me and ask questions about how the implementation was going through this course that they were doing. So when you talk about getting results, people, as disciplined as we try to be, most people, in order to have success, need accountability, even if it's just knowing that you're showing up to a specific call every week face to face. So adding that component, number one, made the offer far more irresistible, because the buyer knew that that's what they needed. They needed accountability. So you can increase the price for accountability. The other thing that includes is expertise, right? I don't know about any of you, but when I did some college classes, I went into business at 18, so I didn't finish. But when I did some college classes, the ones that I had to do online that I couldn't ask questions about as easily were the ones that I struggled with the most and caused me the most stress. So a way that we can alleviate that is having a specific time that you can get one-on-one attention from an expert, even if it's in a group program, right? So you can charge more for that, and people get better results. The other thing that's included in that is community, right? You don't get community necessarily when you're on your own doing a course. There might be a community aspect, you get access to a Facebook group and there's some engagement, but it is different when you see people face to face, when you have live events, which is another way that you can add value. So in this particular 5K offer, it was a finite period of time. There was a course that everyone went through at the same pace. There were calls every week for accountability and for coaching. And then there was live events. They got tickets to live events. So we were able to sell that offer really easily. So that's one example for you, Kim. Does that sound like what you're looking for?
Yes, absolutely. And, I've been telling people, that I feel like the shift is, from selling our stuff for pennies on the dollar to the 3 C's, which is exactly what you just laid out: curriculum, a coaching component, and a community component.
We are so aligned always.
Yes, seriously, because it just makes sense, and I'm seeing so much greater results when I'm actually working with my students instead of just saying, go figure it out yourself. Yeah. Because you're right. We need accountability. We need somebody to answer our questions when we have them and that kind of thing. So I think it's super powerful and necessary for us to have that connection. So let's just address what I call the elephant in the room, which is, okay, why would I create a high ticket offer versus a low ticket offer? So what's your take on low ticket versus high ticket, and especially in the context of where we are in the marketplace today?
Yeah. So my take on this is probably a little controversial and very different than what most people think. So I'll tell you what most people think first. Most people think we're going to create a low ticket offer, something really easy that people can buy, kind of get it out there. How many times have we heard, I just have to sell $1,000 $100 products to make da-da-da, right? That's what most people think, and that's really the sexy thing that's out there. However, I will challenge that every single day of the week. And every single business that I have ever built on my own, every person I've ever coached, we always start with a high ticket offer first. Why is that? One is because when you're first getting started, I have bootstrapped every single one of my businesses from zero. No lines of credit, no investors, and I've built $1 million businesses. And the way that I always start is getting one person to say yes, working with that one person on a deep level. And here's the key: with investment comes commitment. I just need that one solid case study. I need to work out my system and get paid to work out my system, but I know that I won't let that person down. So the thing that feels risky, I would say, to most people, especially just getting started, is if it's their first client, a lot of times we feel like, can I really help them? And the truth of the matter is there's something magical that happens when you get your first high ticket client to write you a check, to give you their card, to say, you know what, you're the person to help me. I trust you. That we elevate in our roles as educators and as entrepreneurs, and we do everything we can to help that person get a result. And they are equally invested because they've invested financially. So I always recommend starting with a high ticket program first, one-on-one, the whole enchilada. Then we can build, say, a group program. Sorry, I'm over here. We can build a group program underneath that. And then your lowest ticket offer comes after that, because you will already have an audience of people. You will already have raving fans, which means you're going to have some people that'll go into that lower ticket program first. And then that's where you can start to build more of a subscription model. So that's my hot take.
Yeah, we're such in alignment with this because I've seen so many people do this over the years. Heck, I've done it. Where, I felt like that my audience wasn't ready for the higher ticket things. And so what can I create that would serve them? And I've done them a disservice, frankly. So I'm just going to say, just be totally honest. I've been a part of the problem because psychology is this. People will pay a low ticket price point. And Erika said it best. People that pay low ticket amounts don't have enough skin in the game to do the work. I just truly believe that. I've done it myself. So I've seen it happen over and over again. When people really commit to a dollar amount that is a little bit of an ouchie for them, it hurts. They're way more committed to show up and do the thing. They're also way more committed to the transformation. So I just feel like that, it's not that there's not a place for low ticket offers. I do believe that there are, but I also believe that you should focus on those higher ticket things, get it to a run rate that your revenue is solid before you invest in developing low ticket offers. So, because the reality is, while it might be easier to sell, the volume is a killer. Like, you have to sell a whole lot more of a $47 thing than a $5,000 thing,
Absolutely. And, Kim, you and I understand this because we've been in the online space for many years. People don't understand the amount of investment, the amount of money it takes to acquire a low ticket customer.
Yes.
Right?
You basically are, I call them lost leaders because they almost are. You pay to acquire a new customer in the hopes that down the road somewhere, they will ultimately buy a higher ticket offer for you. It takes way more time and energy and investment in that person, financially and otherwise, to get them to that place of being willing to purchase. So I think a lot of us, though, have a heart for our communities, and we're like, oh my gosh, like I know my people can't afford it. So we get sucked into that mindset that, we have to have something lower ticket because our person won't buy. What's your take on that?
So, who are we to say what somebody else who we don't know what their background is. We don't know what's in their bank account. We don't know their history. Who am I? Who am I to say what they can or can't do? It's never a lack of resources. It's simply a lack of resourcefulness. So if I'm going to project that, my audience can't afford certain things. That is on me. What I choose to encourage you to consider is that there are people that need you, that have the willingness and the ability to invest, and those people will not buy your lower ticket items. So if the ultimate goal is to get to a higher ticket price point, you don't have to torture yourself to qualify for that. All you have to do is speak to the right person and solve a big enough problem that they're willing to invest.
You say it, girl. I'm over here typing out your comment. I'm like, that is so good. It's never a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. So, so I'm going to approach this through the lens of us girls, just real quick. And this could be true for guys too. But, ladies, if we want something, a new purse, a new pair of shoes, and they're, a purse at Coach Pocketbook, I really want it and it's $300. We figure it out. Let's just shave a little bit off the grocery budget this week. We figure it out, and resourcefulness. We get resourceful. We're super resourceful because we want that new pocketbook. Why in the world do we not do that with investments in our business? I don't know. We'll go out and spend, $100 and don't think anything of it for a fancy meal, but we won't invest in ourselves. So it's a lack of resourcefulness. Absolutely. I totally 100% agree. So if we're trying to figure out a high ticket offer, where do you suggest that we start? Do you start with a goal, a financial goal, and reverse engineer what you should, or do you just set a price and you get what you get? So what's your take on that? Do you start with the goal first?
So when I think, again, this depends on what stage of business we're in. So if I come from the perspective of somebody that maybe it's somebody in your audience that has been trying low ticket offers and they haven't really been catching on, and that ultimate kind of dream goal is to get the high ticket offer. So for somebody like that, what I would ask them to do is I would ask them to kind of survey their audience, see what the need is, see what the want is, what are people asking for, and how does that align with your expertise, the thing that you're so good at, that people told me, Erika, you're so good at sales, and I did not see it for the longest time, and it made me so nervous because I never had formal sales training. These are the scripts that were in my head. I never had formal sales training. Who am I to teach sales? It's oversaturated in the market. So if you have those scripts running through your head, that is probably the thing that you should build your high ticket offer around. And so then what you would want to do is place a price tag on it that makes you feel nervous, but that also you could think forward and say, you know what, if somebody actually said yes to that, I would be blown away, so excited, and really willing to step up and do whatever it took to get them results. So I don't necessarily go from some pie in the sky financial goal per se. It's a bit of quantitative and qualitative. How does it feel? Does it make me nervous? And do I feel like I could really get excited about it and stand behind it if somebody said yes?
It's so funny you say this, because this is where I've been for about 2 years, trying to figure out my thing, right? And just recently, I just shared this with you before we jumped on, but trying to figure out my unique thing. What is it that how I can show up with all the experience that I've had? And so my business coach was like, well, you've built authority, you've built audience, a community. And anyway, we were talking about this, and it led me to exactly this, where, we're starting a new program called Authority Creator. By the way, for those of you, and I'll just mention this real quick, we're doing a sneak peek of what this is, because a lot of you have asked, what is this? We're doing a sneak peek today at 1:00. So you still have a chance to register. Go to kimgarst.com/register. And essentially, it's anytime you have, you're trying to sell something in the online space, there is an authority feature, like, right? You have to have some authority to be able to get people to say yes. They don't just hand over their credit card. You have to have some oomph that makes them feel like you have the knowledge or the skill set that they are wanting or the transformation that they're wanting. So anyway, I've gone through all this, right? I was like, yes, this is exactly my thing. Exactly what you said. People kept telling you, like, the sales, Erika, you need to be doing that. When, my business coach said, you've created authority. You should be teaching that. And I'm like, yes, you are so right. And so anyway, a little bit of a sideline, but if you have something that somebody is consistently telling you they want or need, or you have it, whether you've identified, just like Erika was saying, everybody kept saying sales, sales, sales. Sometimes you don't see it yourself. Sometimes you have to get out of your own head. You have to listen to what other people and how they see you in order for you to find your thing. So I just wanted to share that story because I think it's super powerful to understand that sometimes we overthink it. We get so far in our own businesses and our own heads that we can't see the forest for the trees. So
I'm excited for you, Kim. That's going to help so many people. That is so needed.
Yeah, I agree. Like I feel like this is finally in alignment with my desire to serve and all the varied skill sets that I have, because I've done all these things. I just haven't figured out how to package it or put it together until it kind of clicked. So it's going to be exciting to see where we go with it. So when it comes to creating that like high ticket offer, because I want to get back to this real quick, do you have like 3 strategies that you could share with us as to how do you go about crafting that high ticket offer?
Yeah, I mean, rather than 3 strategies, I know that kind of feels simple and easy. I am somebody that believes in frameworks. I teach sales frameworks, offer creation frameworks, so I can give a bit of a framework that's kind of a catch-all, right? So the first thing is you need to identify what is the period of time. Is this a short-term thing? Is this a more long-term thing? And the way that you determine the length of time is you need to honestly ask yourself if you have the right person. So that's really important. So we have to assume that the right person is out there, and they are. If I have the right person, how long would it take me to really help them get XYZ transformation that I'm promising? Okay, so what is that time frame? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months, right? So identify the time frame. The next thing that you need to do is you do need to identify the price, right? And this is literally how I build offers. I start with time frame, then price. And we already went through that. What's something that gets you nervous that you would be really excited about if that right gung-ho person said yes? And you stamp that price on there, no matter how scary it is to you, just put it on there. And remember, when you're creating an offer, everything can change. So just do the scary thing and lean in, okay? So stamp the price on there. Next, Kim, I loved your 3 C's. Exactly what Kim is saying. Start with those 3 C's. What is the curriculum? What is the coaching? And then I think it was curriculum, coaching, and content or accountability or something. I forgot already, but I loved them. I should be taking notes. But incorporate those 3 C's. What's the curriculum? What is the transformation that you're going to provide? Because that is what people are buying. You may have heard that people don't buy the airplane, they buy the destination. So think about the actual transformation. So for example, right, I teach sales. I help people make more money with less work. That's the transformation. I don't talk about every single framework that I teach or how to create an offer, this or that, right? But I create buckets in my offer to put those things, catch-alls. So like I'll have a kickoff session, a VIP day where people come to me, right? And we create a strategy together that we're going to execute for the next 12 months, right? That's a bucket. I don't say I'm going to teach you all of these different frameworks in there, right? And then have a bucket for ongoing coaching, right? So maybe it's a weekly call, maybe it's a group call, maybe it's a one-on-one call. Have a bucket for ongoing communication, whether it's email or messenger or Voxer, if that's appropriate. And then of course, have your content, your curriculum, your baseline that people will follow. So, and then I just want to give you a couple other things, to really cap off and complete the offer, because we have the time frame, we have the money part, you have kind of your different items, your buckets that all of your knowledge goes into, right? Curriculum, accountability, coaching, expertise, all of this. And then there's two really important things that you need at the end. One is the payment plan option. And here's the trick for payment plans. You never let your delivery of the service get ahead of the payment plan. Okay, so you need to make sure that they pay more than you're delivering if they're on a payment plan, and so it evens out at the end. The second option is a paid in full option, which I highly, highly recommend. And most people are scared of this because they have a preconceived idea that people don't have the money or won't pay in full. And I will tell you that is wrong. With every single client I've ever worked with, they have been so surprised at paid in fulls. So the way that you make paid in fulls irresistible is, one, you offer a savings. So for example, if the cost of the program, the investment is $5,000, the paid in full would be $4,500, and then they save $500. That's bonus number one. And then you include bonus number two, which is something extra juicy that they really want, but is not necessary for them to have success in your already outlined program. It's just like a shiny object. It could be an additional course. It could be, for example, if somebody pays in full for a year-long program to me, I will fly out to them and facilitate a 2-day training versus them coming to me, which is included in their package. So something shiny, something exciting. And those are my best tips for high ticket offer creation.
Love it. So good. So good. So I made some notes myself. I'm just going to drop them into the comments there. The bucket concept, though, I love that concept because if you can identify, even putting where does those things go? So like, for example, your community, I put communication with that because, that is a component of the community too. That's where you could potentially put all of the communication with your community, right? Where is that? Is that a Facebook group? Is that a standalone tool or an app? So I just use that as an example of what you just said, because I was like, that is so good. Because I think we get so wrapped up in trying to figure out what's in the box that we can't get out of our own processes sometimes and come up with it. I also like, as another aside, how you determine the length of time for the program first, or the offer, and then you talk about, and the price is next before you ever figure out what it is, y'all. Okay. So, I mean, seriously, that is pretty amazing. So I just thought I would highlight that real quick.
Well, because then, Kim, you can reverse engineer, right? You can say like, dang, this is like, I'm going to deliver so much value. Like, what do I get to do? You get to inspire your own creativity in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So like we've been doing this with this offer, this creator authority offer, because or authority creator, not the I think I said it backwards, but the point of it is that, like, what else can we put in the box? Like, we keep adding so many things, and honestly, I feel like it's going to evolve even after we've sold it, because we're just going to keep finding things that this needs. So, okay, let's assume that either people have a high ticket offer, or now that they've heard all this amazingness, they're going to go, create their own high ticket offer. What is necessary for them to sell it? Like, what do they need to actually create a sale with this?
Yeah. So I mean, that's really the next step. And Kim, I love that we're doing it this way. I love that we start with the offer and then to the sales process, because you could have the best sales process in the world, but if you don't have an irresistible offer, you will not sell. So we always start with the offer first. From there, it's almost like you have this kind of like trump card in your pocket. You're gonna win the poker game and you know it. So it makes your life a lot easier if you have an irresistible offer in your pocket, and it gives you confidence going into the sales conversation. So that's the first thing I would say, is that you need to have confidence in your offer. Even if you've never sold it before, you need to come with the confidence that I am the right person. You are the right person to help the person that says, hey, that's raising their hand. Hey, I want to talk to you about this. I need help. First and foremost is you need confidence. The second thing that you need, obviously, is an irresistible offer, which you already have. The third thing that you need is a sales framework. And again, I'm a big fan of frameworks. I have worked with businesses that have used scripts. I have worked with people that have done winging it. Both of those work to a degree. But where the sweet spot is that allows you to really be your authentic self, to let your confidence and your expertise come through, is when you have bullet points that hey, I'm first going to just warm up and chat with people. Then I'm going to make sure that I qualify that these are the right people, that the decision maker is here, that they have the willingness and ability to invest financially, that they actually want or need what I have to offer, and that I want to work with them, and that they're coachable, right? That you have kind of this bullet point list in mind that you follow to make sure that, one, the person across from you is actually the right fit and you can help them, and two, to help them understand a bigger vision and see a bigger vision than even what they came to you for to help. So you really need that ability to enroll them in a bigger vision than they can see themselves. And if you can successfully do that and be like, hey, this is what life can look like with this problem solved, it's even better than you thought, then your program, your offer that you're pulling out of your pocket is an easy yes. It's an easy solution to that problem because it's right in front of them. Oh, did I lose your sound, Kim?
I was so busy typing, I didn't want everybody to hear it. So apologize for that. So you said something that's so near and dear to my heart. You talked about confidence. So a lot of entrepreneurs that I've worked with are, they still have a fear factor about putting their thing out there, right? And I'm just going to give you just a huge piece of advice here that tags on to exactly what Erika just said. If you don't believe in your thing, whatever it is, your offer, your irresistible offer that you've spent time building, it shows up when you talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
So you absolutely have to value what you have, or neither will they. So it's super powerful, that confidence thing. Honestly, I think if there's one thing that you have to sell anything, it is that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
seriously. I mean, yes, I believe you need an irresistible offer. Absolutely. But if you don't believe that irresistible offer is amazing and it's going to help your person, it's not going to work for you. The people who do amazing things in business and sell, high ticket things, do so from a place that is very evident that they're passionate about. I mean, you can hear it when Erika talks about high ticket offers and her business and her previous businesses and the way she shows up and helps people. You can hear it, know it. You can physically feel her passion for the service that she brings, and she knows she can make a difference. Own that. I want to say the word S, but I won't. Own it. Own that, because I'm sorry, I got off in a little rant there, but like, it's so important. So if you've probably seen them, everybody's like, okay, these are the do's, these are the things you need to do have a high ticket offer. But what are the don'ts? Like, what would, of all the things that you've seen, what are some things that, like, don't do this because
Yes.
this is going to blow it up? So what say you?
Okay, here's what I say. One, don't ever discount. Do not discount. Either do it for free or make people pay for it at your price, or add something in. Okay, but don't ever discount. If you start a relationship discounting your pricing, it lets people get away with them not being confident in themselves, and they will never take as much action as if you actually help them elevate and step into it and believe in themselves as much as they believe in you. So don't ever discount. Let's see, what else? Don't put too many offers out there. Literally stick with one offer. And I would say don't be afraid to hear no. I would always tell people that I work with and sales teams that I train, no is one step closer to yes. And when I started my martial arts school, you guys, I would literally go out with cards in my hand, business cards with a 30-day free pass for martial arts on the back and a notepad. And I would go to parks, I would go to grocery stores, anywhere where there were parents with kids, because I had a kids program. And I would go up to the parents and I would give them a card, a physical card, and invite them in for 30 days free and collect their names and phone numbers and then call them and invite them into class. It's how I built my school from the ground up, bootstrapping it, right? Do you know how many no's I got, right? No is one step closer to yes. There's no way I would have sold that business if I hadn't have started that way. And that was my marketing for years. So when I trained people, instructors to go out in the community and do this, we would play a game that whoever got the most no's wins. And we would tally it. We wouldn't even count the yeses, because I know that whoever's willing to go out there and get those no's is the one that's going to get the most yeses. So don't be afraid to get no's. And the biggest one I would say is don't prejudge. Don't allow your own fears and your own, and I'm just going to say it how it is, your own money issues hold you back. Don't project those on people. Make the ask, sit in the silence, and let them say yes or no.
So good. I especially like that last one because it is so, it's tied to our own crap. Let's just be real. A lot of times we do prejudge, and most of the time, even as a sales conversation happens, you're sitting there. I've done it before where I'm like, ooh, I just don't think this person can afford this or will go for it or whatever. And it could be a combination of things. And then they're the first one, let me go get my credit card. And I'm like, really? What just happened here? Like, so I really like that. And I think the one thing too, that a lot of people get wrapped up in, especially if you're starting with something new, you let the no's dictate the fear factor level in your offer. Like if you get a no, you're like, crap, this isn't good. Crap, this isn't going to sell or whatever. So, if you are confident that you have something value-based, you can make a transformation, just keep pressing through those no's, because the right person's out there. You're potentially putting it in front of the wrong person. Most of the time, that's usually what the issue is. So we do have a great question. I thought I'd throw it out there to you. So you're okay with discounting for bulk clients? What do you think? If it's a bulk offer, like, hey, if it's some sort of a corporate client and they want multiple seats, essentially.
Yeah, so that's a different kind of discounting, right? You're making them a specific offer. This is, let's just say, a corporate offer. So for a corporate offer, you're charging significantly more. So let's say you have $1,000 widget, right? And they're going to buy, $50,000 widgets versus selling $1,000 widget to a human. right? You can sell them $50,000 for a package price of $45,000, and they're saving $5,000. That's essentially the same concept as doing a paid in full offer on your individual price point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it looks like the same person's asking, what if you sell products versus services? Should you not discount? So that's another like interesting thing too. And my first question would be like, is it high ticket or low ticket? But anyway, what's your thought?
So these are great questions, by the way.
Yeah.
So for the product, if you want to discount as a marketing and sales strategy, then what you do is you increase the retail price, and your discounted price is the actual price that you want. So for example, if the price that I want is $10, then I will say that the actual price of this product is $15, but I'm discounting $5. So I still wind up with exactly what my target is.
Yeah, so good. And I see this quite frequently with service-based businesses where they have a package price that they're delivering a service for, and they get a client on the phone and they're like, well, I can't really, do that. And so they basically say, well, we'll work within your budget and we'll do blah, blah, blah. And they discount their package on the phone with this person right out the gate. What would you use? What is a different approach to that? Because I feel like sometimes people know that's their angle. They do that intentionally to try to get they bargain to get a better rate. Yeah. So for people that are doing that, what would you say to them?
Yeah, stop doing it. That's what I would say. Because here's the thing. The people that are doing that are falling within the belief system that it's the discount that is going to get people to say yes. That is a false belief. People, with investment comes commitment, and people will invest at the level that you are confident, right? So if you're confident in your product or service, don't try to rely on some discount strategy or fast action. Like if you sign up today, you can get it for, $1,000 instead of $4,000. That is the fastest way to lose trust and integrity in your pricing. I would rather have trust and integrity because I know that's going to last the test of time. And I know that there will be people that will pay the price that I'm asking, than try to use a discount strategy in that regard. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yes, I love it. So I just recently had a situation where I quoted a price for something and had that exact situation happen where, well, I can get that same thing for this price, and I'm like, you absolutely can. You will not hurt my feelings if you decide to go somewhere else. But you won't get my expertise. You won't get the things that I bring to the table, so I just highlighted that. But I said, at the end of the day, it's your decision. I didn't back off on my price. And that's really what you have to do, because you have to stand in your own value. If you don't, trust me, they already devalued you by asking you for a discount or asking you for a better price. So, it's not a good way to start the relationship for sure. Definitely not. So I think you gave us maybe one example before, but I was just curious if you have, and you can just share maybe one example of a high ticket success story, yours or maybe even a client's. Like they rolled out a new I know you've got plenty, so just feel free to share what you want to share.
Yeah, I'll give you a recent one. This is a brick and mortar business that I work with. They're a dive store in Anacortes, Washington, which is like this small island on the tip of Washington state, which, as you can imagine, is quite cold. So really interesting for scuba diving, right? They do cold water diving. And every time I talk to them, they're bundled up. I'm like, that really makes me want to get in the water. But a big segment of their business is travel. So they travel to places like Fiji and Bora Bora and, all over the world, literally all over the world. And the dive store owners are incredible hardworking people. They do so much for the divers for these trips. They plan the airfare. They help with the, figuring out the COVID regulations. When airlines change things, they're the ones dealing with it. So literally, it's a concierge service. All their divers have to do is pay and show up. Well, when I first started working with them, one of the problems that they have is, one, they have to book these trips way in advance, which means they have to spend $30,000 to $100,000 in advance to book the discounted rates for these trips before they sell one person into it, right? So then when they were selling people into these trips, they would get, obviously a lot of good responses, but they were always scrambling to fill those last couple seats. Or if somebody canceled, then last minute they're trying to fill that spot, and their margins on these trips weren't super high. It was less than 10% in some cases. So you can imagine if one or two people don't go, they're actually losing money on these trips instead of making money. So the very first thing that I did with them is I looked at their system, and they had no paid in full offer whatsoever, because nobody in the dive industry ever does paid in fulls for these trips. It's always payment plans. And with these payment plans, they were also collecting them manually and trying to call people, hey, your payment's due, your payment's due. And so people were flaking out, they weren't paying, and it was just this whole stressful situation. So again, I'm about make more money with less work. So the first thing that we did is we had them set up their agreements so that all payment plans would be signed and agreed to, that their card would be charged on a specific day and time, so they didn't have to chase payments. The other thing we did is I just literally increased their pricing. They would send me their price for their trip. I'd see their hard cost, and I'd say, great, you're going to charge $200 to $500 more per person on this. Nothing changed in the offer except the price. Now, keep in mind, their members don't see the back end of this, okay? So I'm the only one that sees this, and I just say, hey, charge more. So we increased their profit margin by them doing nothing else but increasing pricing to 20 to 30% on these trips, and they deserve it, let me tell you. Then the third thing we did is I taught them the same structure that I taught you as far as paid in fulls, where if somebody could pay in full for the whole trip up front, no payment plan, they get a certain amount of discount, and then they get like a free massage or an underwater photography session in Fiji, some kind of fun freebie, right? So we ran the system the very first time for a trip to the Philippines, and in one single night, they sold out every single spot to the trip to the Philippines one night, and they made $90,000 in that night, cash collected, and 60% of their people paid in full. 60%. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Excellent. That is so amazing. Okay, that is a success story if I ever heard of one. And I love how you broke down their problem and how you solved it, because that, I mean, if you don't identify what your problems are, it's very hard to come up with a solution for fixing it. Mm-hmm. So that's powerful. I once worked with a company that didn't even have any idea what their primary revenue stream was. So when we started breaking it down, and this is typical sometimes of businesses that are super, super busy, money's coming in, they don't have to worry about it. Everybody's getting paid, all the bills are, but they don't pay attention to the details. And so when they realized what their primary income stream was, I was like, this is where you focus. This is where you scale, They're like, oh my gosh, we had no idea. So it's just really a powerful thing to understand the components of what's broke and ultimately, or what's working even, what's working.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to just quickly give a shout out to the winners. All right. We have Sandra, and Catherine is the winners for the How to Sell Your High Ticket offer with a simple phone call. So if you'll go over to kimgarst.com/winner, we'll get your login set up, and we will have that out to you as quickly as we can. So you guys are the winners. Erika, how can everybody connect with you? Because I know they're going to want to. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, everybody, you can follow me on social media. I post a ton of content there. It's either facebook.com/Erika Martin Consulting. Instagram is at Erika Martin Consulting. Or if you want to email me directly, if you have a question, or if you're interested in talking more deeply about the things that we went through on this show, my email is very simple, Erika Martin Consulting @gmail.com.
Boy, that is simple. All right. Excellent. Well, I am so excited that you came and shared your amazingness with us. I mean, we just really went through the process of, what it takes to have a high ticket offer. And you shared some amazing nuggets, incredible nuggets. So thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you so much. And I just want to give a big shout out to all of you guys that are live with us or watching on the replay or listening later. Time is valuable. And when you give some of it to us, we really, really honor that and appreciate it. Next week, same time, same place, we are going to have a special guest next week is a branding pro. Phil Palin is going to be with us next week. So I'm super excited to have him. So don't miss out next week. And again, thank you guys for being here. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and God bless.